Hello. Today we're going to talk a little bit about soil formation. And just behind this PowerPoint slide as we go through it it's just to do a refresher and give you a little bit of idea of where we'll be going through this class. So let's start from the beginning. We know that soil is broken down bedrock. And a good way to visualize this is if we visualize a sidewalk. And in that sidewalk, there happens to be a crack. As the season and the years go on, and you're walking down that sidewalk, you're going to notice that that crack is going to get bigger and bigger through the process of erosion and weathering. And that is the exact same thing that's going to be happening to form soil as well. So this just gives you a good big visual of it. As that material weathers, the soil then starts breaking down, and you can have, obviously you're going to have soil in different regions that are going to be strong enough to support plants, and of course strong enough to support large buildings, just depending on the type of soil it is. Of course, in order to have soil, we must have bedrock, because we need something to break down. And the bedrock is exposed as it begins to wear down and erode into basic material for soil. That basic material is going to turn, well, it's not going to turn, well, I guess technically it's turning into soil, but this is what the soil is going to be composed of. It's going to be composed of inorganic material, about 45%, water, air, and of course organic material. This organic material is called humus. It's dark in color because it's very rich in plant and animal decay, and which of course is going to contain numerous nutrients that are essential for healthy plants to grow. Soil texture. We will discuss that in a later lab coming up, but this just gives you another overview of how we determine the difference in soil. And one of that way is texture. And texture can be determined by the amount of clay, sand, and silt in the soil. If the soil has equal parts of sand, silt, and clay, it is known as a loam. And loam is the best for growing plants. And if you look a little bit over there, you can see a little chart that shows the different sizes. And that's kind of a really eye-opening kind of view of the size of the particles in each of the different textures. The triangle will become key later too. The process. So how does soil go from bedrock to silky smooth clay? Well, obviously weathering and erosion is a big key. And over time, these different layers are going to form, and they are known as soil horizons. If you dig a deep hole, for example, you will see these layers of soil. We've all seen it. They're just different color formations. That shows you the different processes of where the bedrock has been broken down. In Horizon A, the topsoil. Horizon B is also known as our subsoil. And then the lighter color of these would be actually the Horizon A. Finally, in Horizon C is the very rocky and is close to the bedrock. Excuse my puppy. So this is another chart of what it looks like as the soil begins to form and break down from the bedrock. We're starting with, on the left there, we're starting with water seeping into cracks, and of course that's going to help erode. And then we're going to go down to where you can see the different three. The very last one, the well-developed soil, is going to have your three very distinct horizons, so you can see the process. All right, so your soil types are found along the well, in this sentence, they're found on the Mississippi River, is very different from the soil found in the desert of Utah. So obviously, your region, depending on how much moisture it has, it doesn't have, are all going to be factors on the type of soil. Your climate is going to determine what type of plants and also your soil compositions. So if you're in a mountainous area, you're going to have very thin soil, which will support very little life, plant life, and of course, you're going to have in soil on the that has very thick horizon. You're going to have a thick root system, and it's going to be a little more solid root system, large root system. These are your regions, and per regions, it's going to show you, and we can go over that a little later, of how the soil is composed throughout the United States. And as we talked about briefly, humus is the organic material that's found in soil, and it happens as plants and trees shed their leaves and they fall to form a layer known as litter. This litter is filled with nutrients and is not part of the soil yet. Humus forms later due to the compositions, and that's where our decomposers, if we think back to our third grade biology, how important they are in breaking down the material. And then you have other organisms like worms and mites who help further decompose, and more importantly, they're going to mix that soil, those nutrients into the soil and making it humus that we know. All right, for humus to become part of it has to be mixed with it. And of course, our little worker bees there are earthworms, and they do the majority of the mixing. They also carry, the earthworms will also carry the humus deep down into the subsoil, and other burrowing animals such as mice, moles, and prairie dogs will also help with the mixing process. And of course, this is a very vital process in order to have healthy and, thriving plants. All right, so in conclusion, it takes many years for the bedrock to become fertile soil, as you can imagine. Just so we use the example of a weathering sidewalk, it takes many decades. Soil is composed of rock particles, organic material, water, and air. Soil texture is determined by the amount of sand, silt, and clay. And when soil formation is complete, it has 3 distinct layers: A horizon, B horizon, and C horizon. And humus is created when decomposers consume litter and earthworms mix up the soil. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you.